as you know, I'm sick today, and I wasn't looking forward to this committee hearing, but seeing you all here really brightened my day, because it wasn't too long ago where it was frowned upon to have people testify in their native language here in this own capital, and to have you here, have you testify in a language that you feel comfortable in is something that brings me joy, and it reminds me of why California is such an amazing place, a place where we accept everyone. And in a time and place where in many other parts of our country, there's efforts to erase our immigrant refugee experience. When you see what's happening in Arizona with trying to ban Mexican American studies. And to the young lady who wasn't even here to testify for the bill, she moved me, because I actually lived that same experience where she said, allow for us to understand where we come from. And growing up even in Los Angeles as a young kid, where we were called Mexican here, and we would go to Mexico and we were called American when we would go to Mexico, we had no idea where we belonged. And we didn't see ourselves in our textbooks. We didn't see ourselves or our experience. And so it creates a sense of animosity in the sense that you don't belong. But and I'm also a bit sad that we have to actually legislate in this type of bills to include our curriculum, our own experience in California, where everything, and quite honestly, I don't see this bill just benefiting the Vietnamese American community, but benefiting all children in California, because we all become better if we understand each other's experience, and we become a little bit more open, a little more sensitive to everybody's experience. But being the Appropriations Committee that it is, and we are looking at the cost of the bill, it is a suspense item, but we will consider it as we've done all the other measures similar to this. We've done similar bills on the Armenian genocide. We are having conversations about the Cambodian genocide as well, our LGBT history as well. We had to, unfortunately, have to legislate this curriculum. But I want to thank you all for being here. You've really made my morning as miserable as I feel right now. Thank you for coming from around the state. This is your capital. You belong here. We want you to feel welcome, and you deserve every part of the American experience. So with that, Senator Nguyen, would you like to close?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I close, I just want to make a comment regarding the Department of Finance's comment. She did mention that we should have gone through the IQC process, and we tried. We did, and IQC actually has closed the doors. They did not reject us, but they said at this time they would not be accepting any more studies into the curriculum. And the next process doesn't start to 8 years. So we have started that process. Actually, the Vietnamese American community did not know that I started that process 2 years ago. We wanted to go the right way, the respectful way to the department, but because the doors closed upon us, our only last option that I was told is to put in a bill, and so that's why we did so. Mr. Chairman, the book that was mentioned earlier, it's actually the first time I've seen this today, and it also here stated for the first time that I'm aware of that 1 million Vietnamese refugees died escaping across sea. My family was one of them that was lucky enough to escape and actually made it to the island of Thailand. And so, the young lady you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, actually that was where I was 20 plus years ago. I came here as a 1.5 generation Vietnamese American. I was the one who was born in Vietnam and came to America at the age of 5, left Vietnam at the age of 3. I didn't speak any English. I didn't know anything about the history. I actually didn't even live in an area. I live in San Bernardino County where there's hardly any Vietnamese, and there was 2 of us, and we went from first grade all the way to 6th grade, and everybody thought we were cousins, even to this day, because of our last name. I actually learned about the Vietnamese experience through my parents, but more than I've actually have been very blessed and honored for over the last 20 years. and that I've been able to be part of the Little Saigon, Orange County area, where I've actually witnessed and learned from these individuals who have fought and families has died, perishing and trying to come to this country in for freedom and democracy. I don't know much about the history until I was a member as an elected official. Actually, the community can attest, I actually back then couldn't even speak the language. I am now fluent after over a decade, but it took me a long time. But I don't want that story and history to be lost. And my two young children, who are 7 and 5 today, hopefully one day when the Vietnam War curriculum is taught, the truth will be taught why my parents made the ultimate sacrifice and forced our way out of Vietnam. And so, Mr. Chairman, I do ask again for the consideration of the committee. The amount of money is beyond, the value of what we are talking about is beyond the dollar amount. And so I also want to, on record, make mention that we've had support from Congressman Roy Khanna, who sent in a letter last time. His name was not mentioned on the support. The city of Santa Ana has also officially supported. Congressman Scott Peters from San Diego has also called into the San Diego Vietnamese American community and has stated that he is in support as well. And so many other individuals. And again, today here alone is over 300 people. This is their first time, most of them, their first time to this capital, to travel 10 hours since midnight last night, to come here to testify before you. It's very moving for me because I'm that generation that don't know what happened during the war and are just benefiting from their sacrifice. And so I ask that you please consider, if there's one bill this year that's one of my priorities, this is it. And so again, if I can, Mr. Chairman, say a few words in Vietnamese just to thank everybody for being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Trước hết, Janet cũng xin cảm ơn quý vị, quý đồng hương đã tới đây nguyên đêm và nguyên ngày đã tới đây để giúp cho chúng tôi. Bữa nay là một ngày đầu tiên có hơn 300 người bị gốc Việt tị nạn. Hơn 500 người. I'm sorry, there's over 500 people. I apologize. Có hơn 500 người bị gốc Việt tị nạn. Chiến sĩ Việt Nam Cộng hòa đã tới đây bữa nay để nói cho Thượng viện và tại sao cái lịch sử và cái văn hóa của cộng đồng chúng ta phải giữ lại mà phải tên trong cuốn sách của tiểu bang Cali để cho con cái chúng ta và con cái của cộng đồng bản xứ hiểu về lịch sử của quý vị và để cho they biết là tại sao người Việt Nam tị nạn chúng ta ở nước Mỹ đây. Và một lần nữa, Janet xin cảm ơn quý vị. Cái này rất là cảm động cho Janet là có rất là nhiều quý vị ở đây bữa nay. So chúng tôi một lần nữa xin cảm ơn quý đồng hương.
Đừng có tay.
I respectfully ask for your consideration for my vote in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, this is a kind of